Alright, man, we got another video, man. 7 things no one told me about Honduras. Let's find out what he's talking about,
In this video, I'm going to explain to you guys a few things that no one told me about Honduras, which is not surprising because most people probably don't know much about this country, nor do they have any plans on visiting. So I'm sure some of these things I'm going to speak on may be somewhat new to you all as well. Let's be honest, the first thing that comes to mind when people hear about this country is crime. Crime, and more crime, danger. I believe at one point in time, Honduras, or maybe a city in Honduras, was like the murder capital of the world. So I can
Of course, they talk about San Pedro Sul,
understand why many people haven't ventured to this place.
and that's crazy because that's one place where we all really have to land to even go into Honduras. Well, for us, meaning me and my family, because we from La Ceiba, and I know everybody goes through like San Pedro Sul. You know what I'm saying? And then goes to wherever else they going within the island. So weird, weird.
But let me go ahead and share one disclaimer with you all. I spent most of my time along the coast and also in a city called San Pedro Sula, which is probably around 1 hour, 1.5 hour drive from the water, depending on where you're going. So in essence, I consider this city somewhat of a coastal city as well. Whenever I bring up Honduras in this video, just keep in mind I'm referring to this part of the country, the coastal water area. But without further ado, let's get into the first one. The first point is the friendliness of the people. Now I know for some of you all watching that may not be much of a surprise. However, for me, I expected something different, and the reason
I hate corn tortillas. Flour me, please.
being is because I've been to a country called Peru, where the people
That soup look good as.
lean more on
I ain't gonna
their
lie. Looks
Amerindian
good.
side.
Looks
And while I
good.
was there, mainly in Lima, and I also visited Arequipa and Cusco, I found the people to be somewhat more socially conservative.
Damn, look at the pigeons just
Not
driving.
as
Flying, chilling, walking through like it's nothing.
they were nice, don't get me wrong, but not as like open as some of the other countries in South America or just Latin America in general. And so before going to Honduras, I pictured, okay, that country, they seem like they have a strong Amerindian influence. So maybe
Man, I lie. We have some beautiful ladies over there, so man. We have some beautiful ladies, man. So if you ever want to go, just be on the lookout.
that social
Ladies
conservativeness
are beautiful
will
out
be
there.
the same. And yeah, maybe in certain aspects, but as far as like openness and friendliness and being super talkative with like strangers, that wasn't the case. I found people from Honduras very, again, the best word I can use is open. The next one on the list is going to be a little interesting.
Open.
The point I'm trying to make is, while I was in Honduras, I definitely got some Mexico vibes. The people, they put spicy sauce and chili on their fruit, which is the first time I seen this outside of Mexico. I also seen mariachi there while I was on the beach in Tela, which I've never seen outside of Mexico. And then also when I was walking around, you can see some of the Mexico flags in certain places.
Bro, if you live in America, what you mean you never seen a mariachi outside of Mexico? Stop your lies, my nigga.
So, and just in general, walking around and mingling with the people, it brought back memories of my time while I was traveling throughout Mexico. And I'm sure there's some historical reasons why as well, but that's one thing you'll notice. Another point I want to bring up is about the music. Now, if I had to guess, apart from like the traditional, the folklore, I would have to say the number one thing that people listened to while I was there in Honduras was bachata. I'm sure it has something to do with being close to the water, but in the city, people were listening to bachata in the clubs, in the bars, the lounges. I didn't know people in Honduras dance bachata because when I was in Panama, I heard a little bit of everything. I was in Panama City, so somewhat, Americanized. So it was a little bit of everything. And
Bro, you was only in San Pedro Sul, bro. Like, you gotta go La Ceiba, you gotta go Sambo Creek, you gotta go to all these places. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go to Triunfo. Like, we play everything out there. There's not one thing you will not hear out there.
then when I was in Mexico, it
Play
was more
everything.
banda
Beautiful,
and
beautiful out
salsa. I didn't think many countries, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Honduras, Belize, countries in this region, I didn't think they, dance bachata a lot. I thought that was more, South America and the Caribbean thing. For this,
bro. Bro, like, Honduras is a Hispanic country. Hispanic and Afro Caribbean country. Let me get that correct. We play everything. There's not one thing we don't play out there.
Next point, I want you to remember what I spoke about earlier,
It's
which is
not
that I
one
did
thing we
not
don't listen
venture
to.
too much into like mainland Honduras. However, similar to many places that you go to, the vibe, the atmosphere can be different depending on which part of the country that you're in. The
Okay.
coastal side is very touristy. Many tourists, when they visit Honduras, even if they fly into a city, they head straight for the beaches, straight for the islands. And so the major cities of the country, the capital, Tegucigalpa, I think that's how you pronounce it, and San Pedro Sula, they're not really, they're just not touristy. Another point was that on the islands, you can pay in USD, which I can say from personal experience is very common. While I was there, they quoted me in dollars first, and I asked them, hold on, how much is it in the local currency? Vice versa, I was told that if you're in the city and you try to pay in US dollars, you might receive some funny looks. Some people may not take it from what I was told. And lastly, a major difference is the language. On the island, I believe the first language is English, then the second one is Garifuna, and then third is Spanish. Whereas on the mainland, it flips. It's Spanish. The second one, I'm guessing, will be whatever the native language is. And then third will be English, from what someone was telling me. So that's
Right.
pretty
All right.
interesting. And this kind of leads me into my next point is that Honduras is a lot more, I guess you would say, ethnically diverse than what I had imagined. You had the ones that lean more on the Afro side, the ones that lean more on the Euro Mestizo side. Obviously, you had a ton that had a strong Amerindian influence. And then you had the ones that were mixed with like everything. I also saw a few Asians there. I'm assuming, if I had to guess, they were Chinese. And since we're on the topic of people, let me go ahead and throw this in for the fellas listening. Ladies, go ahead and take a break. Go to the bathroom, do what you need to do. Let me holler at the men out there for a quick second. I'm going to go ahead and say two things. First, Honduran. I keep saying Honduran. I think it's Honduran without the I. So Honduran women are one of the most underrated women in not just Central America, but in Latin America in general. And I can see why. If no one visits the country, no offense, not many people will know. And
Bro, stop saying that nobody visits the country. A lot of people visits the country. A lot. You've been visiting the country for years on top of years and still going to this day. Y'all go on like you're the first one, brother. You're not the first one, man.
the second point is that Honduran women, and let me preface this by saying I have not been to every country in this region, but Honduran women are the most curvaceous in Central America. If you don't know what curvaceous means, the most
Very nice.
voluptuous, the
Very nice.
most junk in the trunk. Hands down, in my opinion. And some people may assume I'm referring to the Hondurans that lean more on the Afro side, which is to be expected when it comes to, that body type. Or you may be thinking I'm leaning more on the Euro Mestizo side. I'm referring to both of those, but also what caught me off guard were the women who lean more on the Amerindian side. Now, I have two theories as to why this might be. One, the Mayan women back in the day, they must have been working with something. Or two, maybe because when I was walking around the San Pedro, there was a ton of fast food places. And they had Popeyes, KFC, Pizza Hut, Dunkin' Donuts. They had Bojangles out there. They had
Yeah.
churches. They just had a ton of fast food establishments.
Damn, I don't remember going to back there and seeing about Jangos.
Also,
That's something new to me.
eating at a local spot, they're very big on like rice and meat. If you're a vegetarian, a vegan, it's gonna be kind of tough in Honduras. But those are my two theories. Last but not least,
You be alright if you're a pescatarian. A pescatarian, you be a-okay.
a thing that no one told me about Honduras or before coming to Honduras was about their addresses. It's very different from what I'm used to. Here in Honduras, they don't really do the number plus street, at least from my experiences. They give you two streets. They'll say I live on this street with this street. I live on Martin Luther King with Columbus Boulevard.
Yeah, like the third house from the corner type shit. I remember I went to the bank with my cousin, and that's how he described the address at the bank. Like I'm on, like he said, Martin Luther King with Crown Street, the third house from the corner. I'm like, what? That's crazy.
And it was so weird and so frustrating because if you're somewhere where there's no Uber or there's no popular landmark right? It's not like the Marriott or the Hilton. Having to give
Yeah.
directions to the driver can be difficult. So when I would get dropped off, I would contact the host, and I was usually always 1 or 2 blocks away. And that may not sound like much, but when you have, all your stuff with you, your bags, your passport, your money, and you're just, on a random street, that 1 to 2
At night.
minute walk to your apartment feels like forever. And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. I typed in on Google hospitals in Honduras. And so the address pattern that I'm used to is right here. Not the first part in Frente de Bayside, but where it says
Yeah,
936,
9360
9360,
hospital.
and then the name of the hospital, then Main Street. So 9360 Main Street, bam. I know where to go. But most of the addresses, from my experience, weren't like that. They were more like this. 3RW5 plus 6VM. I'm assuming the first part is a street and then plus another street that I was talking about earlier. They'll say, hey, I'm on this boulevard plus this boulevard. So I'm assuming that's the same pattern. Maybe, maybe not. But here's another one. QM, Q4, I'm guessing that's one street or one area plus 638. So that's just one thing I want to
I'm from out there and I wouldn't be able to understand my goddamn self.
point out to you. Most people, again, probably don't experience this because as soon as they touch down, they head straight for the beaches, straight to the islands. But if you plan to spend a few days in maybe some of the major cities and you're not living in a popular hotel or establishment, just remember about these addresses. But without
A lot of times, for me, the times that I've been out there, what I do is actually rent a car. A good thing with me is that I'm good with, like, I won't say directions, but I'm good at memorizing my streets and where I came from and how to get back and stuff like that. So I just rent out a car and I'd be good with that. You know what I'm saying? First day I'm out there, I'm going to explore, going down streets, going to see the supermarkets, the malls, the beaches, all the places that I know that I may hit up or whatnot. And I might drive my cousin that still stay down there because he know every fucking thing. So I'm gonna drag him with me, and then we chilling the whole day. The next day, boom, I'm on my own, but I know where I'm going. You know what I'm saying? So I always rent. I, I they don't have Ubers out there. They do have taxis. They don't have Ubers though. Um, as far as a taxi goes, I gotta bring my mom's too, cause shit. I can tell them that I want to go to the mall, but then once I'm done at the mall and then I get a next taxi, I won't know exactly how to explain to him to get back to, what I'm saying, where my aunt house. Let's use that for an example. I won't be able to explain to him how to get back to my aunt house. I might have to tell the dude, like, yo, let me drive, bro. I drive. Give him a little extra. I drive us to where I gotta go. You know what I'm saying? Cause my Spanish ain't 100%, but at the same time, I can. It's like I could show you, then I can tell you. I can show you better than I can tell you. So
all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end it right here. These are just a few things that no one told me about visiting Honduras. And I want to share with you guys because I know a majority of you probably are not going to go. But there may be 1 or 2 watching and listening. And if I can help out just 1 or 2 people, then I'm good. Hopefully you have found some value in this video. It has helped you in some way. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys the next one. Deuces. In this video,
appreciate
I'm
you,
going
my
to
dog. I stay going into Honduras. Well, not stay going, but I've been there a couple times, and I am gonna go back again. But I'm definitely not just going to go to like San Pedro soon. That's just not where I'm from. I'm more comfortable with La Ceiba. I know my rays around over there. Um, yeah. So San Pedro soon, not really. Um, more La Ceiba for me.